We're back, and we have a guest. Sani has returned.
Glad to
Episode,
be back. Thank you for having me back.
very, very good first appearance. We expect a very good second appearance. People were raving about your first time on, and you've been a tough man to
Good
get, but
color
we
song
got
too,
you.
Sonny.
It's
Finally,
play
you made it happen.
it's playoff time. Sani's suited up. He looks like he's ready to hop on the parkour right now. What is that? A Tatum jersey?
This is a IT jersey, but
Oh, I
I
just
was
peeped the
thinking,
Adidas logo.
yeah,
Oh
some
yeah.
IT
What is
sweat. I had
it?
to wear green. I have like some white Tatum jerseys, but I figure I wear some green for
I
the pod.
respect it. I
Good
respect
call.
it.
I do have a little Tatum
A
poster right
poster?
here.
Oh,
It's a
that's
little, a
dope. I
little
see
hard
it.
to see, but
There we go.
You know what's going to
my
be a
God.
sick poster is that picture of Tatum with his arms up. Well, with KD and Kyrie right behind him.
That's amazing.
It's a
Yes,
Yeah.
perfect
sir.
picture.
Yes,
It's a
sir.
perfect picture. It was a perfect moment. We'll get into that in just a second. We're going to talk about the notable things that happened during the first few days of the playoffs, Saturday and Sunday overall. Just to recap from our podcast with T on that we recorded on Saturday. I had Memphis in 4, already wrong. Warriors in 5, looking good. Dallas in 7, who knows? Suns in 4, that's looking good. Miami in 5, who knows? I mean, they won the first game, but the more I think about that, it's like the Hawks just don't go out like that. Philly in 6, Bucks in 4, Celtics in 6, which I still feel good about. T had Memphis in 5. He had Warriors in 5, Utah 6, Suns in 4, Miami in 5, Brooklyn in 5. Oh, yeah. As Sani shakes his head.
No, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Philly in 6 in a Bucks sweep. And Jay, you had Memphis in 7, which looks really good right now. Of course, these could all be overreactions. Warriors in
Might
5.
change it. I
Warriors in
might
5 looks really
might
good.
change that to
Oh,
Minnesota.
oh, come on, Jay. All right, we'll
Ah,
talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk
yeah.
about
We'll
it.
talk about it. Yeah.
Utah in 6, which looks good because Luka's injury looks like it's not going anywhere. Suns in 4, Miami in 6, Boston in 7, Toronto in 7, and then a sweep. Oh, I must have forgot to put Bucks, but I assume you have the Bucks sweeping the Bulls, which is
Yeah.
definitely going to happen.
Mhm.
But yeah, we can start with one of the greatest playoff games I've ever seen yesterday. Sani, were you there? You're a known patron of the Garden.
I wish, man. No, but I definitely
Ah,
watched the game. I wish, man. I
yeah, I know you.
wish.
I'm sure you do wish. Yeah, you definitely love to be there.
Yeah.
Sonny's he be sitting with Wick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been to a few games, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make at least one playoff game.
yeah,
I was looking at this Wednesday game, but I don't know, a little
right.
steep.
Yeah,
We'll
right,
see.
right. Well, you got the hookup. Or you have the way. You have your ways.
I
You'll
know.
be looking at that clock. But yeah,
Good
Exactly.
man.
it was quite the moment. Of course, that last play is just gonna
Let's
live
start there.
rent free in my head for a very long time. Just every pass that's made, the way I was feeling, where it's like I was with a bunch of friends. They've never seen me scream the way I screamed. Uh, I feel like this is the type of game, first and foremost, this is the type of game that the Celtics would have lost for the past like 5 years, maybe even longer. Where it's like, oh, I have so many memories of just like the shot almost going in or something rimming out and just, oh, we'll
Yeah.
get him next time, or oh, it was a moral victory. Just seeing them actually pull this out made me feel so good. Because Jay, what have I said on this podcast? Yeah, they're blowing teams out. I want to see them win a close game. And
hmm
what a way to win a close game. Uh
Facts.
yeah. You have Kyrie losing his mind. You have the Celtics leads evaporating to where they're down 5. What were they down like 5 at the end there?
Yeah.
Two,
Yeah.
3 minutes
5.
left. Not sure, not
Yeah.
quite, can't quite remember. But the mental toughness they showed at the end of that game was incredible. The guy I am most proud of from yesterday is Jalen Brown. I feel like at the end of the game, I saw the smart numbers. I thought Smart sagged off of Kyrie a couple times, a little too much, where it's like you have to treat this guy like at that point in time, like if he makes a shot, your life ends or something. Like you can't be giving
Yeah.
him an inch. Like I don't care, foul him, something. Um, Jalen Brown was in Kyrie for the pause. Jalen Brown was in his
Hey
ass.
yo,
He was doing a good job on the defensive end, which is not something people that is not the first thing people think of when they think about Jalen Brown.
Yeah.
And he kept them afloat through offense, through going to the basket, hanging in there. Of course, with the nosebleed at the end, that was inadvertent. People were ready to kill Kyrie if like the replay showed that like an elbow or something, but
Amongst other
it was all
reasons. Yeah.
clean. Right? Yeah, yeah. Kyrie's losing his mind. The Nets, it's that big brother atmosphere. It's that big brother, just like, oh, we're gonna beat you once again. And then of course the final play set up for Smart to take it, which is what everybody has pointed out. Set up for Smart to take one of his classic jacking up a three, rimming out, what I was just referring to. Makes the right play, makes the right pass. Tatum spin, and the rest is history. Uh, just give me your initial thoughts, guys.
You go first, Sani.
I mean, you just said it, man. Like Ime talked about it a little bit, but man, in the past, I could easily see Jalen Brown forcing that shot,
Jalen too.
that
Yep.
first shot when he
For
drove.
sure.
I could easily see that, let alone Smart. He would have pulled it before even the up fake. And then when he did that up fake, I was like, yeah, he's shooting this. But I was like, okay, it's a decent shot. The fact that
Mhm.
he did it and the patience that we showed, man, and like, yeah, like Tatum he had to do it. It had to be on
Yeah,
Kyrie too, which was
that
nice.
was
And
beautiful.
I know
That was
KD fell
beautiful.
asleep a little bit ball watching, but man, like
Don't
I'm
get me
really like
started.
really happy about that though. Like it could have easily been a Smart pool or Jalen pool, but the patience we showed and the way we developed that play. And I also love the fact that Ime did not call a timeout.
Mm.
I love that
Yes.
he just let him play.
Another thing they would
Nets
have done in
again
the
were a little
past.
flat-footed because of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And even few plays before, like Kyrie hits that insane three, his patented playoff three where he just sidestep bang. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no, man. But Celtics come back real quick with a quick layup. Nobody panicked. We just did our thing and like, yeah, I mean, rest is history, as you said. That was awesome. I also, by the way, I was at home with family, but I screamed my lungs out. I was like, no way. Yes, like I literally lost my voice for like good 30 minutes, but
Yes.
yeah, man, that was amazing. That was really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you
Yeah, I
screamed.
mean
I
that bro, that
don't
was
remember screaming as
basically
much as I did yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
I think I
That
need
was
to breathe
basically
hard
a
for a second.
game 7 atmosphere in game 1. Like the fact that we got to
Yeah.
see like that's game 1, guys,
Of the
of
Eastern
Mhm.
that.
Conference Finals, it felt like, or NBA
Yeah,
Finals
like
even.
it was insane. Like from the jump too, you saw like it was a concentrated effort. We're gonna hit Durant every single time. It was reminding me of them 2014 grit and grind Grizzlies when they used
Yes.
to beat up on young Durant OKC. Like that was the
Mm.
same game plan they had. Like we're just hitting him, Grant Williams. We're gonna get 2 fouls.
Double
Like it
teamed.
was, bro. They're ready for a dogfight. Yeah, from the jump.
Mhm.
And then it was crazy because like you're seeing that it was like 7 turnovers. Durant had like 4. And then you look at the score, it's only a 2-point game. You're
Yes.
like, oh, okay, wow. It feels like the Celtics should be up way more. And then Kyrie starts going fucking nuclear in the second
Mhm.
quarter. But then I feel as if this is why I was so proud of Tatum because Kyrie started rising to the occasion. Durant, man, just not gonna say much about that. But Kyrie started getting into his bag, and then Tatum saw that and was like, okay, here we go. Like he started turning up in the second quarter, which I thought that was a key moment. And then, yeah, I mean that after that, it was just a straight up like here we go. Like this is a game 7. Who's gonna make the tougher shots? Who's gonna
Mhm.
make the right plays? And the Celtics, like after Kyrie went again on another 8-0 run with Durant on the bench, crazy
Mhm.
enough, Brooklyn goes up 5, like you had mentioned, Gabe. And then, like you said, they don't panic. Like you were saying, Sani, they just
Yes.
stick to the game
I
plan.
panicked.
They were just
I know I was
oh,
panicking. I entered a very dark
Everyone was
place when I
panicking
saw that score. When I was like, "Oh, we just
when they
had
were
a
up like 5.
double-digit lead, and now we're down by 5, and the clock is
Yeah,
ticking." I was in a very dark place. I
Mhm.
do
nah,
not know
it looked
what I
bad.
would say on this pod today if they had lost that game.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
this would be a
crazy because
sad podcast.
honestly, I would say if the Celtics had lost that game, the series, I
It
know
would have
it's
felt
insane to
over.
say
It
a
would have felt
series is over
over.
after game one, but
Yes,
it would
yes.
have definitely felt over.
Because what
Because if you're
Kyrie was
looking at it
doing,
from like from yeah,
the manner they were doing it in, Kyrie just flipping off the crowd, just like this is the last guy in the NBA, the very last guy of the past like 35
right.
years, whatever, dating back to Isaiah Thomas, maybe Kareem, I don't know. Think about Celtic
Mhm.
villains. This is the last guy you want to be doing this, and he's literally turning into a god. He's putting on a basketball god
Yeah,
performance in front of everybody. In this is
masterpiece.
that would have ended the season. I agree with you, Jay. That would have been like that was demoralizing.
Yeah, because it would have been it, bro. Because had they done that, for sure. Because then you look at it now, if you're the Celtics, like, man, so Durant had probably the worst playoff game he's ever played. Kyrie, yeah, he went God mode, but like you lose that game one after everyone, what's Horford, they all played well. Like everyone played well on both
Yes,
ends. And if you was to lose that, and then there's the whole outlook of okay, now there's no more home court advantage. Simmons might come back, even though we can get into
I
that
don't
if you
trust
guys
that.
want. But that's yeah, that
I
thing
think
was
that's gonna make that
just
team
so
worse,
weird.
honestly, chemistry wise. I don't think
That's a good point.
Ah,
Simmons,
yeah.
like everybody will say, like he's an amazing defender and all that, like and playmaker. I get it, but like you put Simmons in very ball dominant guard. You take that ball out of Kyrie and KD's hands, and like yeah, you can. Kyrie will get some open shots, KD will, but you kind of Kyrie to get going. Both of them, they need the ball in
Yeah.
their hands. They need to just yeah, I definitely see Ben can be good if he comes in, plays like 15, 20 minutes, off the
Right,
bench. But
right.
I don't think if they put him in a starting lineup now, I honestly do think that's going to affect him,
They wouldn't.
you know,
In,
in
in
the
theory, and Gabe, we talked about this. In theory, Simmons on this team is exactly what they need. You have someone to
Right.
guard Tatum,
If he had
like he can
30
push the
regular
ball
season
up and down
games
the
to get
court.
going.
Yeah, which and then some people are like, "Whoa, Simmons is coming back." Brooklyn Twitter, because I'm on the dark side too a little bit, but like I see people like Nets fans talking about, oh, like uh Rob is coming back. Like they was comparing Rob coming back from injury to the Simmons returning thing. Like, why are people doubting Simmons might come back? Like you said, Gabe, if Simmons had played 30 games, maybe Rob was part of a championship contending team for
Yes.
85% of
An
the
integral
season.
part of it
totally.
too.
Simmons,
Oh yeah,
exactly. Simmons, we have not seen him. The last time we saw him was over a year ago, and he had Trey Young under the basket, and he decided to pass it off to Thibault. That's literally the last
hmm
time we saw him.
Right.
So, like, those two things are not comparable to me. If he can give them 15 to 20 minutes, I do think like it's tough because if Simmons is actually able to stay upright, which this is another thing I don't think is going to happen, like you put him into high intensity playoff basketball with the way the Celtics was, you saw how physical they was in game one on KD and Kyrie. Like,
Yes.
you don't think they're going to go right at Simmons the
Yeah.
same way,
Mm-hmm.
just going at that back, trying to hit him as hard as they can. If he's able to withstand that and give them like 20 minutes of good defense on Tatum, I think that changes the series because now you're not asking Durant to do as much on that side. But that's a big if with Simmons, man. Probably the biggest if of the whole playoffs. That's why, like, if I'm looking at this from the Celtics standpoint, I'm feeling really good that I was able to get that game one with that Kyrie
When
performance,
does he come back?
with everything that would have came after it. What's up, Gabe?
When are they saying Simmons would come back?
I think they say the reports was game 4 to 6. Then
Right.
if you look into like deep
So
Nets Twitter, some
there's
people
a
are saying
chance.
game 3.
Right. So
And
if
the
it's not
Nets are
game
they're
4,
really good about keeping that stuff under wraps.
right.
Yeah.
If it's not game 4, it'd be game 5 in Boston. His first NBA game back. And you saw how that crowd was yesterday.
That's a
Going to
disaster.
put him at the line, it would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then who knows what the series will be? Like,
Mhm.
are you gonna start? Like Sani said, are you gonna fuck with your team chemistry? Game 6, a possible elimination.
It's really
It will be
risky.
an elimination game for somebody. Are you gonna do it then?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him coming back
Mhm.
this series. I don't think there's
Yeah, I
gonna be.
agree.
I
Totally.
don't think there's gonna be a chance in this playoffs, even if they get past Boston, for Ben Simmons to return. the Eastern Conference, there's going to be no layups along the way. They'll have Milwaukee next round, and they would
It's
have
another
somebody
dogfight.
formidable waiting for them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll see Simmons. I think this is kind of the matchup we should be analyzing. What we saw yesterday, these are the guys who are going to be deciding this series, not Simmons, and sadly not Robert Williams either. Probably he could come back, but
Fashion
he's
show
not going to be.
Simmons.
He could come back, but I don't think he will be a big difference maker a few games back from an injury.
Rob, like, we'll see. Because you're right. That's the meniscus. That's tough. And
Yeah.
he's all about jumping and shit. What do you think, Sani?
No, I mean, I definitely don't think Rob should be rushed back in because,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this is our core, this is our future, and we have all this whole core for the next 3 years locked in. So, like, for him to come back, just rush him back and him get re-injured and the injury be more serious, it depends. Obviously, it depends on the series where we at, but like, I think Celtics will be. They say what he can come back game 4 the soonest.
Yeah.
I personally think Celtics would be up 2-1, maybe they're up 3-1. I don't want him to come back. Although I do think if they decide that he can come back, I do think he can like change the game and affect the game just because even just the idea, he is arguably, all defense team, first all defense,
Yeah, I had him
second all
first team.
defense team. So if you have some guy just like that in the paint, even if he's not as athletic or not as explosive, you still have that in the back of your head when you drive, right? Like when you, wherever you are, you're still going to be like, nah, maybe I'll pass it out. It's almost like just like scare people away effect. I don't know. I do think he can change the game if he does come back. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think this game yesterday, I know you were saying, obviously KD is such a killer and like he can have a way crazier game than this. But second half, he was, I think he was 2 for 10 in the first half. And then he came back. I think he was like 7 for 14 or something like that in the second. It was a stretch of time where he would just like dribble the ball up and pull up at the elbow and just sweat every time. And you just couldn't do anything about it. Like, he didn't have an amazing game. I'm not trying to say that.
I agree
But,
with you,
him and
Sonny.
Kyrie.
I do think
That
there is an
second half,
overreaction to how poorly he played. I think
I
it was
agree.
I think they just swarmed him, and Kyrie was able to take
Yeah.
advantage. And KD, it was
We
just a
are the
rough
best
night.
defense by far.
Right.
And I'm sure you guys already talked about this. Defensive player of the year, baby, Marcus Smart.
Yes.
Marcus
We broke that live on the
baby.
pod. That
We
broke live.
rejoiced live.
We were
I figured.
we were about to do defensive player of the year, and then
Yeah.
it was announced.
Bang. And like, so yeah,
Perfect
with
timing.
this kind of defense, you can't just be like, oh no, KD just had an off game. As you guys said, we threw all 5 people at him that whole first half and even the second half. Like, right, he can still shoot over anybody, which he started doing. But I do think he had an okay game, and Kyrie obviously had a godly game. Dragic was hitting all his shots. Claxton was 6 for 8. Curry started out well. I think he got in a little bit of foul trouble. So I think Nets played a pretty good game. They shot 54% from the field.
It was a battle.
They shot like 46% from 3.
Yeah.
And
if Durant
put up
plays
a lot of
2%
points.
better, they win.
Yeah, but
if
Kyrie also
plays
went nuclear.
2% worse.
It balances
you know
out.
what I mean? Like,
balances out.
I think KD can drop 45 this next game, but Kyrie will probably drop 25. Like, but I'm saying it's all about like those role players, those other players who I think played pretty well. They hit their shots, and again, they shot 46% from 3. And Claxton had a good game. And like, if you look, I don't remember what the final score was, but it was like in 120s maybe. Something like that.
115, 114.
Yeah,
or something. Celtics don't allow that many points on average. Right. Like, I get the Nets are really good, but they don't.
Excellent
So to be honest, like
Excellent
the way
point.
I look at it is like that was a good chance for them to win away, and we kind of just snatched that from them. And I think now momentum is big time on our side, and the ball is big time in our court. Big time.
It feels like they have to win 5 games.
I originally said, yeah, exactly. So I do think that was, some people are saying that, oh, Celtics barely got away with this one and KD didn't play well. I don't know. Like that as a team, they played all really well. So I expect KD and Kyrie to combine for like 70 points. I already expected that. And I think we can win the game with them combining for 70. We just got to do a little bit of better job on, the other players. And again, they were hot. They were hitting their
Yeah,
shots.
the thing is with the other Nets players, the role guys, like Dragic will have moments where, because he's been there, he's been in playoff games before. He knows that atmosphere. Same with Seth. Like they'll have their moments, but on the defensive end, they're just such liabilities. Like that's really what the biggest advantage for the Celtics is. They were just able to attack Kyrie to his defense. Like he can hold his own defensively, but Seth, Bruce Brown, Gordon Dragic, like those guys are so small. And then Claxton, like he'll have moments, but he's really young. And then Drummond, the guy's IQ is just in the dirt. And you can't even play Aldridge and Blake Griffin because those guys are so old. So like the Nets players, like when you look at the box, you're like, okay, they got 14 from this guy here and there, but like they're like bigger liabilities when you really look.
Well, they're liabilities on defense, but they played well and made up for it. So what happens when they don't? Like, does KD and Kyrie have to combine for 90? Like, what do you got to do then?
Yeah.
And I think, again, with the defense that we are, I do think that it's, we're gonna put it on them and make it much harder for them to even get those 14 points,
Yeah.
So
sure.
I said originally Celtics in 6, and I'm like sticking to that for now.
Same.
But I don't know. I was not very like going into this. I hated the whole debate with like, should we, go for 3rd seed, 4th seed to avoid the Nets? Like,
yeah.
I hate that mentality. And I'm glad for a second I thought that's what we're doing when we set Tatum and Horford against the Bucks, which we almost won that game too, by the way.
Facts.
But, they came back, smashed Memphis, although they were obviously sitting everybody. But still, we came back strong. We did our thing. And we got that 2nd seed. And I think that was way more important to play like the Bucks with home court advantage in, round 2 than running away from the Nets. Like, I still think we are who we are. We're 2nd seed. We great defensive team. And I still love this matchup for us, although you do have 2 killers on that team. But
right.
Yeah.
Dude, what you said, yeah. The whole time, you're going to have to run in to the Nets at some point, or you're going to run into the team that beat the Nets. So why not go for home court advantage? And it worked out today. Who knows how that game goes in Barclays? Just a quick few things. You guys are mentioning Dragic. I thought he kept the Celtics in the game down the stretch. I thought he was missing bunnies and
that behind the back pass was ridiculous.
That was so bad.
That was when they were up by 5. And if he makes a couple normal basketball plays, opposed to a bunch of mulligans or whatever you want to call them, that game might be out of reach.
Yeah.
But I was saying to the guys watching, guys who don't really pay too much attention to basketball, I was sitting with them. I was like, this guy's keeping us in the game right now. Him and then Jaylen Brown was capitalizing off of those with his going coast to coast.
Yeah.
And then
to be fair too, though, sorry not to interrupt, but just real quick. I think the reason Dragic stayed in the game that long was because he was having a good game. Yeah. Like normally, if he had, like I think he played 10 minutes against, like the previous game they played in the last game of the regular season. So like, I think he stays in because he's playing well. So normally he probably wouldn't be there. But you're right. No, you're totally right.
I'm just talking about down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then overall the game when it comes to what if this happened? What if that happened? The whole game, Jay, normally when you're watching a basketball game or when we're watching the Celtics and it's like, oh my God, Brooklyn's missing everything and we're only up by this. I just felt like everybody on the floor was missing everything. Everybody was following everybody. Everybody was nervous at the beginning. That's how it felt. There was nervous energy in the air in that first quarter. I can't believe both teams scored as much as they did at the end. But it's just going to be a battle. I think that's just going to be how it is. Normally, I'd be like, oh, the fact that that so-and-so is only down 2, even though they've missed all these shots. Normally, I'd be like, that's a good omen for you. But in this series, in this type of physical, I'm fouling you all the time type series, throw all that shit out the window. Also, the war on Tice. This game, he was fouling people. He was fouling people. That's why even Jeff Van Gundy, who loves to I think he keeps it pretty real on the broadcasts. He was like, I don't know what he's throwing his arms up in the air about. That's a foul. That's just all I'm gonna say.
No, he always
When
does
he
that.
was like holding Durant's arm.
Right.
I
This is
remember
one
that.
day. I know you saw that. He was holding your baby's arm. You didn't like that, did you? Yeah, we're getting rough with Durant.
Nah, I was almost had to
The
make some
Garden's gonna
calls.
be a house of horrors for your boy.
Yeah, no, I mean, if the way it's looking, man, the way they let the refs let like them get physical with Durant,
Yeah.
that's like the worst possible
I think
scenario
he
for
can.
him. He's
hang,
gonna get
though.
it together because he's great,
He's
but
too tough. Yeah.
nah,
he's
he
too
will.
tough.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. He got no choice.
How would you feel if they got swept,
Yeah.
Jay? Just like I'm not saying I have Celtics in 6 too, Sani. But how would you feel if Durant got swept? By the
That'd be
Celtics?
pretty rough. A sweep,
By your
I'd be
home- by
shocked.
your-
I think that because
you wouldn't be happy for the Celtics.
by the home team. If it's a sweep, I'll be happy, but I'll also be really stunned
Look at this.
because I'm
guy.
like, wow, like
Look at this guy.
Gentlemen's sweep. We'll give him one game.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
we'll
I
be
don't know.
okay.
I think
That's what
this
T
series
had.
is gonna go long.
T
Yeah,
had
T
the
had Nets
Celtics
in
losing in
5.
5. I guess this is the
Which
one game
is-
T
that's
was
crazy.
referring to.
I know,
Both
I
these
guess.
games, I mean, both these teams, you gotta give them at least 2 wins in this series, at least.
That's how I feel.
Like so, like when y'all say 6, like that's
That's
fair.
why I said 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nets wins 2 games just because Kyrie and KD. Period.
Right.
So
right.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, this is definitely the best series of the first round, though, for sure.
oh, totally.
Sure.
And it's kind of sad that
Best
one of
first round
these
series in a long
teams,
time.
one of these teams, aka the Nets, are going to be out of the playoffs after this round. Like it's 2 very talented, like elite squads that you would like to see in the final or conference finals anyway.
Yeah.
And the way the Nets, injuries and that.
Yeah, sometimes
It
that's
is
how
what
it
it
shakes
is.
out.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Real quick, we can move on. Just some of the first games just didn't really tell me anything, or were things we already knew. You know, Denver has no shot because Jokic might be able to get them a game by himself, but with that roster and everything, they have no shot. That series looks like it's gonna be pretty boring. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on the Denver Golden State series.
Yeah, that series, that's probably that and the Milwaukee series, that's just gonna be done quick. Golden State though, they look really good,
They
man.
look good. It's starting to
Like
click.
they look so good when they put Steph, Poole, and Clay out there, and then they had a stretch. It was Steph, Poole, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond, and that ended the game going into
New lineup
halftime.
of
That was
death.
it. And then
New lineup
Draymond,
of
the way
death.
he was defending Jokic, I think Jokic is definitely gonna have some games, but yeah, that death lineup 3.0 right there. But yeah, that the Warriors, man. Only takeaway is Jokic has nothing, and the Warriors look good. Only
Right.
takeaway from that series.
Right.
And yeah, that's why I think Jokic is the MVP as well, because
Yes.
Mhm.
We're in agreement.
like I agree with what you guys are saying, and that's why they're kind of tougher for them to do anything, because when he's on the floor, they're just so much better. And like as soon as he comes off, I forget the exact numbers, like plus 14 and minus like 4 or something like this, like
Yeah,
that.
it's nuts.
He can't play
and
all
it-
48 minutes.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to now, and like
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna come back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, they could maybe steal a game just because when you have the MVP on your team, anything's possible. But
Hmm.
they just have no shot. Not with that team. I think that's a 25-win team without Jokic. Utah, Dallas. It's just a bummer.
It's
just a
another
huge
boring
fucking bummer.
series.
Just a huge bummer. It's a boring series. I really wish Luka was healthy. I hope he can come back, at least on the second half of the series. And I feel like with Utah's playoff woes, this would still be interesting once Luka comes back. But who knows? Suns.
Is he definitely
yeah.
ruled out today, Luka?
I wasn't sure.
He's out for game 2, I think.
I was looking at it earlier.
I'm like
Oh
almost
yeah,
certain
he's
they
out.
ruled him
No,
out. Yeah.
he is. I looked at it like an hour ago or so, and he was
That
day to day.
blows, man.
But yeah, man, that's such a hit.
Yeah, that blows. Like they're nothing without him. Like Dinwiddie, Brunson, they're cool, but they're better because of Luka. Yeah, Jazz got that, man.
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Suns, Pelicans. Just want to say,
Let's
Pelicans
go
looked
in
really good
7.
last
Nah, I'm
night.
playing.
The Suns did their usual shit, and the Pelicans still only lost by like 11. Moral victory. Also, great Chris Paul
Yeah.
performance last night. And the Suns are really fun to watch. They're
Yes.
just really fun to watch. And all that,
And then
yeah.
that defense they was playing,
Mm-hmm.
man, 34 points in the first half. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was impressive. But again, it's not the Pelicans' year. It's not their time in the sun. Just props to them for being. They really are happy to be their team. But
Yeah.
like I said, they didn't lose by 100 points, which I respect. Because Phoenix will do that if you even show a little bit of giving up. Phoenix will crush you. Um,
Yeah.
Miami, Miami and Atlanta. Do you guys have any thoughts? I'm gonna full transparency here with the podcast. I like to do my homework. I missed this entire game. I missed this entire
He
game.
didn't miss much, but I don't know. What do you think, Sani?
Um, I think just Miami is just way too good all around. I think they're, deeper. And then if Trey is not gonna have a good game, like what did he said, have career low or season low in points with 8,
Yeah, it was bad.
like
It was bad.
you just can't do. And then Duncan Robinson, that kid is.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of his. Like I don't know, just because he's
Nah,
done it to
I'm
Celtics a few times, but
yeah.
he went off. And like if he's gonna drop 27, 28 with as you're not even your top scorer off the bench, like you're not gonna win any games. Like you're just not. And we'll see. I mean, I do think the Hawks can steal a game, but I think Miami takes it in 5
Yeah.
realistically.
That's what
Honestly,
I'm thinking
Duncan
too.
Robinson, besides like Miami just able to switch everything and throw sides at Trae Young and just making an absolute hell for him. Like the other thing that stood out to me that first game was Duncan Robinson because it was kind of a down year for him. He just signed the contract and they started talking about it. And I think the dude, Gabe, you fuck with him, that guy who calls the games for TNT. What's his name, man? Something Jones. Forgot.
Oh
But
shit! It's like
he was
something.
talking
Was
about
it
how he
Chris
was
Jones or
talking to Duncan
something?
Robinson.
Kevin
Yeah, Chris Jones
Jones?
or some
Kevin
Kevin
Jones?
Jones. I think it's Kevin Jones.
It's a basic
But
name.
he just a generic ass 2K player. But he was talking to Duncan Robinson and he was like, Duncan was telling him how like after he signed that $90 million contract, like it brought this whole new pressure to like the first type of pressure he ever felt because I mean he played Division III basketball
Williams,
undrafted.
yeah.
Like he was never under pressure, he was saying. Yeah. And then he goes from that to here we go, like now you're like pretty expensive player on a championship contending team. And he was like, that kind of got to him. But so that being said, like it was nice to see him go off game 1, just, you know, knowing that he's capable of that. And sometimes it could just be in your head. But yeah, it's not looking good for Trey, man. He has no help. John Collins, they're rushing him back. That dude should not be out there, man.
I mean, with Capella out, they kind of had to do that.
Yeah, I get it, but
That's a
it's
tough blow too. But I agree with you. Yeah.
a tough one. And we can move on from that series.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the Bucks sweep and in Philly. I feel good about my Philly pick. Of course, the Scotty Barnes injury sucks, but I said every game's going to be a blowout. I still can see Toronto winning a
Sucks.
couple games in Toronto. Of course, they won't have Thibault there and everything. But yeah,
Yeah.
that series, like you said before we came on, Sani, Philly's just boring to watch. They're just boring. This is a free throw
Yeah.
contest.
I hate watching them. I hate it. It's just a free throw fest. It's like, dude, like, oh, okay, Embiid got fouled again. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maxi's fun to watch, but outside of that, like just Harden and Embiid just fishing for fouls, it's not fun.
yeah.
Philly did some, I don't know, they did some things I wasn't prepared though. Like they went against their whole defensive scheme. They were switching everything. They never do that with Embiid. Like they were kind of throwing some things at Nick Nurse. It was a nice little coach battle, but yeah, man. With Scotty Barnes, like you mentioned, Gabe, if he's not gonna come back, Toronto's margin for error is already razor thin, considering the talent level. This doesn't make me feel good about my Raptors in 7 pick. That's for sure.
Just a quick thing, like you said, Maxi, love that kid. hot take, best player on that team.
The best, not second
But-
best, maybe. Though.
Nah, I'm talking shit a little bit. He's so young
Yeah.
and he's already so good. But just in general, not him. All these youngsters, man, just absolutely
Yes.
balling out in these first games. Him, Poole, Ant. I'm sure we'll talk
get
about
to
that.
him,
Like, man, like it's really dope to see where this league is going in the future of this league. Like all these teams are so young and like so like
Yes.
have
It's
bright and
crazy.
long futures around them.
It
That's
feels
why
so
it's
wide open, competitive.
oh yeah, and
It's
it
not what
hasn't
it
been
was
like that
few
in a
years
while.
ago. Right.
No,
Right.
no.
That's why I keep telling people, man. Oh, the NBA is not competitive. Blah, blah, blah. Wherever LeBron is, well, LeBron's at home right now. Uh, meanwhile, Anthony Edwards
It's a fact.
has taken center stage here. Jay, this is where I was most wrong.
Well, that's
'cause
the next MJ.
I thought Memphis was going to steamroll Minnesota in 4. That obviously is already not the case. What did we think about probably the second most interesting game? Wasn't a super close game by the end of it, but probably the second most interesting game to come out of the first weekend of playoff basketball.
Yeah. That game, man, that game started off not with the same intensity as the Brooklyn and Boston game, but like I had a similar kind of
There was
energy
another
where it's
psycho.
like back and forth. Here we go. Like, yeah, it
saw
was
that-
it was
that
pretty. It
lady?
was like it was a fun game. Of course, ESPN, the PETA girl decided to chain herself.
Yeah, and then yeah,
think
like,
it's a-
forgot
so I
about the
guess-
ESPN
Props
shit.
for her.
I guess
Props
it's a
to her.
Minnesota owner's thing because I think the Minnesota owner like is getting accused of roasting animals alive. So that's why
Jesus.
every Minnesota game you're gonna see some nut shit.
But just the
Yes.
fact that she was able to pull that off, like get through security, just chill there. She chilled there for a while
Yeah,
too
man,
before
I'm
they
not
even
gonna
did
lie,
anything.
man. I
Right.
hate those
Just
type of
funny.
people, bro. I'm like,
Uh,
you're just like a
I-
fucking nut. What? I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but
I don't get it at all. I just think it's funny that like how bad
Yeah.
the security is that she was able
Yeah.
to pull
Right.
that off.
I get that
she
they're
ain't-
so crazy. Like that's the kind of their thing. Like they have to do something outrageous in public to make people think they matter. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, bro, Ja and Ant, like that's gonna be. I tweeted this, like those two going at it is an early chapter of 2 all-time greats.
Right.
I think Ant-Man might be headed there, bro. Like, he was fearless, absolutely fearless, going at anyone who was trying to guard him. He didn't care if it
Right.
was a mismatch. Dude was bigger than him. It was possessions where he had Brandon Clark. He was just, it was like back-to-back step backs toying with him, which that was like, you knew he had the explosion and getting by to the rim, which that was in display.
That's what
I've seen it
surprised
a couple
me.
times. What the shot making?
The fact that like, okay, you're this athletic player that can just throw it down on everybody, that just blows by everybody. But at
Right,
that
with
same
ease.
speed, that same athleticism, you can also step back, and then oh,
Mhm.
you're not just a football player who is athletic enough to be really good at basketball too. Like, no, you can hit a step
There's
back,
some skill.
Jay, just like the rest of the superstars in this league, and that
Yeah,
was scary.
that's
That was scary. And I'm sure
scary,
Jaw's
bro.
sitting there.
20 years old.
Jaw's sitting there like, oh, this was supposed to be my playoff. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
the young star here. And now this guy who's
Yeah.
even younger. Now I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm the veteran that he's having his coming out party against. I
There
think
was a
it's gonna
couple
be a
times
could
on
be a historic
Ja.
series. Could be a historic series.
Yeah, bro. There was a couple times on Ja where he like was just blocking Ja's shot, which you rarely see when Ja
Right.
drives. Like I remember 2 instances at least of him just blocking Ja. I was like, wait, what? Did this just block Ja? I don't know, man. That kid is scary good. Cat was able to bounce back. That was like the most expected bounce back ever. You know, D'Lo was a disaster, and for them to still pull that off game 1. I know Malik Beasley was good and Pat Bev was doing his thing, but yeah, that Minnesota team, man, they're like the reason why I thought this would go 7. I still have Memphis in 7, but the reason why I thought it was going to go 7 was because these are just 2 young teams with no playoff experience for them. Memphis has a little bit last year, but like they're just 2 young, dumb teams, and they're just going to hoop. And then when you look at it from that, and then you see kind of the talent level, it's not that much, there's not that much of a difference. I think Memphis is a little more talented, but I don't know, Ant-Man going toe to toe with Ja, that could change the whole series. But yeah, man, this is gonna be a fun one. This and the Brooklyn Celtics, definitely the two darlings of the first round.
Facts. Yeah. The thing is with Memphis too, like, because I was talking to my friends and everybody, like, who is going to come out of the West, or who really has like the best chance at beating the Suns, right? And a lot of people probably say Memphis or Warriors. Personally, now, I definitely thought Memphis winning this round 5 games, which I probably don't think so now, judging off that game. But I don't know, man. That team is just so young. Like everybody on that team who puts up numbers for them. Desmond Bain, super young. Ja is still young. JJJ, he didn't even play last year. Like I just did not see Memphis even make it to conference finals, to be honest. And I don't know. And from watching that game, it kind of reinforces that a little bit. But I don't know. I was wondering if you guys think anybody could beat the Suns in the West, and like if yes, what team would it be?
For me,
I
just
don't
Golden
know.
State.
I was thinking Golden
Fully
State
healthy,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, like a legit chance.
Which we've
Yeah.
seen this year. We've seen both teams not even at full power. We've seen Golden State without Clay deal a blow to
Yeah.
Phoenix, because Phoenix was great all year. They picked up right where they left off during the finals last year. I know they didn't win, but they were a historic Giannis performance in the finals away from winning, basically. That
I
series
mean, they
was a
just
lot
got
closer than
better.
people thought. Yeah,
They just
and
got
they
much
just got
better this
better.
offseason.
But the one team, because not a lot of teams beat them, the one team that had their number this year was the Warriors. And I don't think that was just like a regular season thing. I think Curry has Chris Paul's number historically, especially in the playoffs. And if Curry can get back to 100%, that will be a scary series. And that's the number one series I want to see, even more so than a Nets Celtics series, or any finals matchup is Suns Warriors. That would just be, I won't miss a minute of that series.
Yeah, that'll be nuts.
I still side with the Suns though, or I still would lean Suns just the way they've
Same.
dominated this year.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good, man. This is gonna be an awesome playoff, guys, as we've seen already.
I entered the gulag. Am I back?
Yeah,
I'm back. Okay, good.
I can hear you.
I can hear y'all.
Yeah, Jay, you started sounding like a demon.
Bro, you see
started
where I'm
sounding
in
like-
what I'm in right now.
Speaking of, Sani, I guess I'll tell you this story for the first time. Jay's heard it a million times. I probably told him the first time in high school. Jay, did you see
Oh,
the thing
boy.
I tweeted you yesterday? If not, I'll pull it up right now of KD.
Nah.
Like it's KD.
Oh,
like
wait, which one?
leaning over, and he looks straight up like Slender Man.
When Tatum crossed him over, and
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I know
this
what you're
shit,
talking
bro.
about.
Look
Yeah.
at this.
That's Gabe's nightmare.
So
Oh,
I had a nightmare
man.
once. I had a nightmare once when I was in high school of Kevin Durant, and I was in like a mall, like an old like shopping mall, and the lights were flickering on and off, and all of a sudden like some sirens started going off, and coming around, it was just me in the mall, and it was like dark and shit. Fucking this dude comes from around the corner, and he gets closer and closer, and it's Kevin Durant. He's wearing an Oklahoma City Thunder jersey, and he's 30 feet tall, and his arms are this is an actual dream I had. His arms are touching the ground. Like that's how long his arms are, and his body, like his torso is like small, but it's all legs and arms and glowing red eyes.
It's like
And
a
then I
daddy
woke up.
long leg
But
spider.
it was just terrifying. And
oh man.
that's
Yeah.
why. That's why I had that. That's why I had it, because that's basically what he is in real life.
Yeah. There you
It's
go,
like
you
an
see it.
accurate depiction
Yeah.
of him.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I mentioned that you sounded like a demon for a second. But yeah, just to put a bow on things, Sani,
Mhm.
what is your finals pick?
I mean, listen, I have to stick to my boys. Like, there's no way I ain't saying Celtics. And especially like if we go by Brooklyn, when we go by Brooklyn in 6 or less,
Yeah,
and we get Rob Will back, like I'm sorry, but the only team that matches up with us, especially at the level we were playing at before he got hurt, is the Suns. And Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's I have to pick the Suns, man. That team just
I
got
feel
so
you.
much better. Like they were already a finals team last year, and then they came back and got, JaVale McGee, who my people need to stop hating on him because
Yeah.
what is he? 3-time champion, always has been
Yeah.
really
The
good.
reason
Like
he's on
he's
these
really good.
teams. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Because it's not 100%. And they got Landry Shamet, and then these kids around like Mikal Bridges, who just took a massive leap, like quietly, but
Right.
not really. Like he
Yeah.
was a
Cam
defensive
Johnson
player.
out of
Cam
nowhere.
Johnson. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
man, that Suns team is just going to be so, so, so tough to beat for anybody. And I think
So
Celtics
facts.
at full strength is the only team that's that's
Yeah.
beating them. So I'm gonna have to say Celtics, Suns.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of lean that way too.
Phoenix is just
I'll
so
take a round by
tough,
round
man.
from
Oh,
him. Yeah, Phoenix is tough, man.
yeah.
They're tough.
Like you mentioned, the McGee thing, that was kind of important because last year they didn't have that backup for Aiton. They got that
Nope.
now. And then, like, one thing, like, I think we could forget sometimes, at least I forget sometimes with Phoenix, is like Booker, Aiton, and Bridges, like, they're all still really young. So, like,
Yeah.
them getting better is not a surprise, but then, like, it kind of is at the same time because it's like, wow. And then you got that OG Chris Paul just aging like fine wine. So this definitely feels like it's their year, Sani. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, man.
But they got to beat the Celtics first.
That's possibly true.
Forever green. Sani's forever green. I
Forever.
respect
That's
it.
it. That's it.
Jay's forever
Yeah.
green, except he's a little. He's got a little black and white in there too.
I got some black venom in me, man.
It's all right.
I got some black venom running in these.
Brooklyn. That's Jay. That's what
What
Jay tweets in his
me and
chairs in his room.
what's his name? Iron Eagle, Syracuse Stocks. We're all on a group chat. Michael Grady. Shout out to the team, man. Let me chill.
Sani, before we go, you have Ukrainian roots. I know I didn't prep you for this like before we got on today, but I remember bringing it up a few weeks ago. Uh, do you wanna? Is there anything in regards to what's the conflict there that you would like to bring to people's attention or ways they could help? Before we go.
Um, Man, obviously, it's tough. The worst tough. Luckily, my family and friends are all okay at the moment.
It's good to hear.
But
Yeah.
it's war. Anything can happen at any moment. And I mean, without getting too political, if Putin's goal was to, put Ukraine on a map and show the world how badass Ukrainians are,
Yeah.
then he totally succeeded. Like I can't,
Mhm.
I've never been, I mean, I've always been super proud of being Ukrainian. I've always talked about it, but I can't be any more proud to be Ukrainian and proud of my people. So, like we're gonna win this war. It's inevitable. He lost it the day he went in. He lost, like, he thought he was gonna walk over, everybody, take over people's freedom. That's just not how it works. Those people are very proud. And they're fighting at the end of the day, they're fighting a war for their own lives, for their futures, and for their freedoms, while Russia is fighting a pointless war.
Yes.
It's from their perspective, from the perspective of the soldiers, there's no morale. So that war was, an L. That was the biggest mistake he's ever made. And like, it's the beginning to his demise, in my opinion. But there's definitely ways people can help. I have some links. I can either send them to you and you can link them.
Yeah, I will. I will share all this on social media as well.
Yeah, I have it on my Instagram. It's in my bio, but it's actually pretty cool. It will take you to a page where you can kind of decide where you want the money to go if you would like to donate, or even if
That's
you
dope.
don't have money to donate, which is fine. You can sign petitions, to for different causes, and it's all laid out pretty well. But yeah, you can donate for either like the army, the humanitarian help, food, stuff like that. So people can check it out and just be aware of what's going on. And again, like wars, there's so many wars happening
Right.
in the world. So if you like don't really have family there or don't know anybody who is Ukrainian, I'm sure it's like kind of easy to overlook, which is fine. I get it. Like I've done the same thing to other stuff going on in the world, but if people want to help, there's definitely ways to help. And I'm sure money will go in, a long way and help out a lot of people. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we're all pulling for Ukraine. Definitely here on the connection. There's no question there. Um, yeah, feel free to get political if you want. I saw a TikTok yesterday. It was like when people who with no spines talk about a conflict, and it's just like celebrities who are like, guys, stop fighting,
Mm,
love, and it's like,
mm,
no, like who the bad guy is here. There's
Yeah.
no
right.
question. Like, let's stop beating
Right.
around the bush. So
Right.
yeah, uh, yeah, great causes there, and we are going to link those on social media, Twitter, Facebook group, all that. Instagram, obviously, that's where we're most active. It's going to be available anywhere. You get those links to me. I'll get them up as soon as this episode drops. And yeah, thanks for
Appreciate that.
joining us. And
Yeah,
Thank you
Sani.
guys for having me
Pleasure as
back.
always, man.
yeah,
Pleasure as
Well,
always.
likewise.
all right,
Likewise.
and go Celtics.